Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to my latest gaming news video. I'll be covering recent gaming news as well as some other gaming related things in this video. As always, I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please go ahead. I'll now be getting some gaming news from the past week or so. So the first bit of gaming news is some new Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 details. These details were given at the recent 2023 Flight Sim Expo. I think the main thing that was mentioned was that Flight Simulator 2020 is limiting what they can do, and they said, "quote We are butting up to what we technically can do with the sim that we have." So a reference in Flight Simulator 2020. As far as I can tell, this was seemingly the main reason for the creation of a new entry with Flight Simulator 2024. I would have hoped they could have done more with Flight Simulator 2020, and maybe they can, but they've now decided to, by the looks of it, move forward with 2024. Although I am pretty sure Flight Simulator 2020 will continue to get updates, but I'm guessing once Flight Simulator 2024 is out, those updates will probably be reduced in amount, or maybe even cease for 2020. And I understand people who are frustrated to hear this. I was not like expecting. I was a bit surprised at the Flight Simulator 2024 announcement, although from what I've seen so far, it does look to be an improvement over the current game. And they had like a sort of, I guess, like a roadmap. So the first focus, a roadmap for Flight Simulator 2024. So the first focus of the development for the new game will be the aviation activity system, which does look or sound, and from what they've shown, look pretty interesting. You'll be able to undertake real world inspired missions like transport, some sort of offshore rig missions. I'm not quite sure what they were, but they were with like a helicopter, and rescue missions, including like mountain rescue via helicopter too. So yeah, that does sound quite a cool addition to the game. So it'd be interesting seeing what that's like. The next focus is core sim and technology, and with this they want to improve the game client side, so how the game runs locally on your system. They detailed things like only downloading what is needed, reducing the game's footprint on local storage and internet usage as well, like your data usage, reducing installation and general load times, as well as keeping the minimum specs for the game relatively low. They also added a bit about keeping the new game Flight Simulator 2024 backwards compatible. I guess this is in reference to aircraft and other things that you can buy currently in the Flight Simulator 2020 marketplace. So any planes or maybe even airports and things you buy in the current one hopefully should be compatible with the new game, although I don't think everything will, they mentioned, but we'll just have to wait for a release, I guess, for that. They're also creating a new physics and aerodynamics engine, which is being implemented in the new game, which will, by the looks of it, increase vehicle control surfaces fairly dramatically. They had a little demo of that. But the main one they showed off was the hot air balloon footage, which provided details on some of that new physics engine. And yeah, it looks really quite nice actually. Another good thing, the new engine will allow for multi-core optimization as well. So this should hopefully improve performance, especially when you're CPU limited, because it's quite a CPU limited game. It's very graphically demanding as well, but yeah, some bits are heavily CPU limited, especially the more built-up areas. Also, there will be new surface detection textures and ground detail being added. So this is to improve the look of terrain and the environments in general. Even though 2020 still looks pretty good, but from what they showed, this does look nice. I do like the new looks they've shown for the forests and cliffs, and they're even adding waterfalls, which look good. I don't know if there are any waterfalls in the game. They might be. I haven't, when I've been flying around, I haven't actually seen any. But yeah, that should up the detail quite a bit, even though the current one does still look pretty good. But yeah, that'll be cool. They are also improving the weather systems in the game and adding seasonal variants along with Aurora Borealis, so Northern Lights, and other like weather things like tornadoes and storms and things. So that'll be interesting. And apparently, some of these weather additions may also be added into Flight Simulator 2020. So that's good to hear. But they said only if that's possible. So it'll probably be very dependent which ones are added. They also plan to add more planetary variety. So this will include increased animal herd density and vehicle traffic, as well as improved live real world air traffic and also ship traffic, which is cool. So yeah, well that sounds pretty good to me. Adding a bit of variety to like the ground in the game, or the surface surface I should say. So all these updates features do seem good to me, and I definitely want to try it when Flight Simulator 2024 releases. I know I've been using Flight Simulator 2020 for a lot of the footage for just my videos because it's just a nice a nice thing to look at, I guess. I think anyway. But I guess this will replace 2020 when it comes out, and some things may also be implemented into Flight Simulator 2020 as well, if they said if possible. But I do understand it would be a shame for some that it can't all be done in Flight Simulator 2020, and that it looks like you will need to buy the new Flight Simulator 2024 to experience the vast majority of these new features. Well, you can, as I expect, it would be on Game Pass then. So it's releasing sort of towards the end of next year. So yeah, definitely one I'll be keeping an eye on news wise. Do some updates on it in the future, I believe. And that's the flight sim bit done. I will now move on to some other gaming stuff. So the first one is apparently a Black Panther game. So EA has announced that it is making a single player Black Panther game and has created a new game dev studio to do so. The game will be created also in collaboration with Marvel. So this was announced on the 10th of July. So the new game studio is called Cliffhanger Games and will be staffed by former Monolith Productions devs, the studio behind the Middle Earth games. There will also be other game industry talent at the new studio who have worked on God of War, Halo, and Call of Duty, among some other games. And it looks like, from what they've said, that the game will be a superhero sandbox, as I guess you might expect. I would imagine it would be similar to the Marvel Spider-Man games, but set in Wakanda, I guess. So seemingly the game is quite far off, though, as EA mentioned the new game dev studio is still building its developer team up, so I'm guessing they probably haven't started the game, or whoever's at the studio is maybe doing the very early plans for it and things. I wasn't expecting this, but I think it could be pretty good if it's similar to the new Spider-Man games. I think it could probably do pretty well if they add elements from the Middle Earth and God of War games. That could also be to the game's benefit. Maybe like the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, or something similar to that would be pretty cool. And I have played the latest Spider-Man, but I played it on PS4. You can get the remaster of it on PC, which I might do at some point, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I haven't actually played Spider-Man Miles Morales yet, though. That looks quite cool as well. I also did like the first Black Panther film, but I haven't seen the second one. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on this. Yeah, sounds like it could be pretty cool. And the next one is a Star Wars Jedi Survivor sequel. So it looks like a Star Wars Jedi Survivor sequel might be already being developed by Respawn Entertainment. So some new info is pointing to this. This being the case, this info is it was actually a job listing for the Star Wars Jedi series of games, and it was for the role of a VFX artist. So, given how new the current game is, though, this will likely be another game that won't be coming for a good few years, I would imagine. And it was a few years between the first Star Wars Jedi game and the current one. But yeah, so this is probably a few years out, I'd imagine. Now, the latest game had some issues, but I think generally it was got pretty good reviews for its gameplay, or although yeah, it did suffer pretty poorly from performance, especially on PC. On Steam, it currently sits at around 66%, I believe, recent reviews, with a like mixed rating overall. And as far as I can tell, it's doing better on consoles. But yeah, it's had a pretty bad launch on PC, I believe. But apparently, if you can get past that, or it ran fine for you, apparently the game was a really good game. Just always there always seems to be some letdown with recent games of performance issues and things, especially on PC, which is quite annoying. And I do plan on playing the Star Wars Jedi games at some point. They do look quite good. I'm not surprised though by this news. It's generally expected when a game like this does well, another game will follow. So if any more info comes up on that, I'll do a bit of an update later. So the next game covering is Baldur's Gate 3. So fair bit to cover here, I believe. I've mentioned Baldur's Gate before, Baldur's Gate 3. And yeah, this is just because I'm quite excited for its release, as it does look really good. I haven't played many of these, but in depth, like massive classic RPGs. But this one is really quite piquing my interest. More and more gameplay is also being showcased as the game is getting ever closer to release. And it was actually brought forward a month, so it was going to release early September, but now it's releasing, I believe, the 3rd of August. So less than a month, only like just over almost 3 weeks away. So quite exciting, I guess. But yeah, so Larian, the developer and publisher of the Baldur's Gate games, has they recently put out a multi-hour long showcase on its YouTube channel, or on their YouTube channel. The which is was the Panel from Hell release showcase, where they got into a lot of gameplay and story elements. So if you do decide to watch it though, the actual content, like the gameplay and things, and them actually doing stuff in the live stream, it doesn't start till around the 4 hour mark. So previous to that, it's just a countdown. So you can skip the first like 4 hours. I think there's a few comments with timestamps, so you can just jump around really with that. I didn't watch the entire thing, but there were some notable parts, and this will be their final live show apparently before the game releases on August 3rd for PC. So the first bit I'll cover is so they showed off the character creation. It does look really awesome actually, and seems like there's just an absolute load of options, like quite in depth. So I really like a game with like an in-depth character creation. So this does pique my interest a lot. There was so many customization options. I imagine I'll be spending a lot of time in the character creator for this, as I've done in other games like Elden Ring and Dragon's Dogma. And there are, I believe, 11 races to choose and customize, like humans, elves, as you'd expect, and halflings, and like orcs and other races that I hadn't seen in the fantasy games before. But there's quite a bit to choose, and each one has all their own customizations, so that's cool. I don't think, well, I'm not sure. Maybe not all the races were available at the start of early access, but I could be wrong. So maybe some of these are new. So yeah, they're all looking really good. There's a lot of color and design and options and variability and all different things you can change with your character. So it looks really good. And I will say that the reptilian dragonborn race they look quite interesting. I haven't seen them before. I guess they're kind of like Argonians though, I suppose. But they look quite nice from an aesthetic standpoint. They also showed a fair bit of gameplay and dialogue, so this is going to be a really deep game dialogue-wise, going by what they showcased, and the story too looks to be very detailed. As I mentioned, I've not played any of the previous Baldur's Gate games. I do have Divinity Original Sin 2, which was also made by Larian Studios. I think it was their last major game they did. But I haven't played that yet either. But I do have it on Steam. So I don't really know any of the story stuff or whether interconnected games in regard to the story. But it does look like it will be pretty in-depth story-wise. Next, the combat is looking cool, especially with a party. I believe you can also go completely solo too, and the combat is turn-based. I thought that all of the Baldur's Gate games it was turn-based, but apparently they were not. There was also co-op, so you can play through the game with the others online, similar to the Divinity Original Sins games. And the graphics and designs of Baldur's Gate 3 looks really good. The world and the characters and monsters, etc. Yeah, all look really great. It seems like a world you could definitely get lost in for hours, um, especially with all the different things you can do and quests and things, and just a lot. Very in depth, very very deep. A lot going on with this game. It looks. Apparently, the game will have around 170 hours of cinematics as well. So, although it looks like it will take many playthroughs to experience all of this, I expect it will vary by character and class and things, or race and class and whatnot. And the script for the game was composed from over 2 million words, apparently. So that seems quite a lot, I guess. So yeah, if you're into your long RPGs, this might be one to get. I would not be surprised if you could get hundreds of hours of enjoyment out of this game, especially if it's the sort of game you like. I expect Baldur's Gate fans are really interested in this and will likely get many hours out of it. Looks like there's also many like romance options in the game, so you can play around and focus on that a lot too. By the looks of things, it does look quite detailed. Now, I will cover this as it's sort of making the rounds online. There is a part involving an elf and I believe it's an elf, and a druid class character. I'm not sure the race of the character, but it's like a druid class character and an elf. And the druid character is shapeshifted into a bear. And yeah, this caused the audience to go wild. Or a lot of videos of it going around on YouTube and things. But yeah, that's the bit I found quite funny was the reaction of the squirrel at the end of the scene. That was pretty funny to me. But yeah, so go check the whole showcase out if you like, or just watch some highlights. It was very long, but also quite detailed. So I'd recommend watching at least the character creation and some of the gameplay if that interests you. But I will link the showcase in the description, as I usually do for these videos. But yeah, it's easily found on YouTube. So yeah, maybe go check that out. That's the Baldur's Gate coverage done. So next is a bit about classic and retro games. So apparently a new study by the Video Game History Foundation found that only 13% of classic or retro games are commercially available. So the games included in the definition of classic were games made prior to 2010. I know you can probably just emulate most older games, but some people do like to have a physical copy or a digital copy bought through an online game storefront. There have been a number of remasters and remakes since like 2009-10, and some of them really good, like the Resident Evil ones, but apparently only 13% older games are available to buy. So it would be nice if more remakes and remasters are released, though it's usually a good thing. I think it's generally a pretty good thing if the originals are also available to buy as well. And this is why GOG and Steam are important for game preservation, as a lot of games on both PC storefronts are the original older games, along with their remasters and remakes. If they had a remaster or remake, you can get some older games on like the PlayStation and Xbox stores. So that's generally good to have if there's like older games on those. GOG GOG generally has a bit better and more updated retro library, but both GOG and Steam are great for older games. And I was pretty surprised at the only 13% figure given. I would have expected that maybe, I don't know, at least a third of retro games or games before 2010 would be available to buy. But yeah, it was a fair bit off if you'd asked me that. So this 13% figure is, yeah, a bit concerning to me. Although many are, as I said, probably available through emulation, others may potentially be lost. If a game company decides to not sell a specific game on GOG or Steam or another platform, then it might be hard or impossible to get a hold of and play it, especially if it was like a lesser known game. You can buy a lot of old games physically. I've bought a few some older games from a local retro gaming store, and also purchase older games sometimes off eBay as well too. So let's just hope though that going forward that more games are preserved and become available to buy, because that's always good. Though if we'll say if developers and publishers do decide to look into putting out their older games, hopefully they do not end up like the GTA Definitive Edition, especially was on how it was on launch. I would say just leave the game as it is and update it to be compatible and playable on modern hardware, consoles and PC. But if they do decide to remake or remaster, they should definitely strive to do their best, like the Resident Evil, to do a good remaster or remake. Yeah, so that's all the coverage of that. The next is actually some remaster news. So a bunch of classic retro games are being, I guess, re-released by a company called Limited Run Games. I have heard of them before, like a bit, but never really looked much into them until recently. Surprised I haven't really looked at them before, considering I'm quite into the older games. But yeah, going by the description on their site, they focus on physical releases of retro and indie games for like modern consoles. And yeah, after looking at their site, yeah, I'm really quite impressed and quite interested in them. This sounds sounds pretty awesome. I may look at picking up something from them in the future, maybe one of these re-releases. So some games, collections and individual games that were revealed are the Jurassic Park Classic Collection, Castlevania Advance Collection, and a number of PS1 titles, actually, including the Gex games, Tomba, and Clock Tower, as well as there were a bunch of other games. So they are being brought to modern systems with the help of an emulator from, I believe it's an emulator, from Limited Run Games called the Carbon Engine. And there will be, I think, a total of 20 games that will be re-released that they actually announced in the video. The Gex games, I think, are definitely the highlight for me, though. I played the second and third Gex games, not the first one, not the 2D side-scroller yet. I do have the original Gex game on GOG. I also have PS1 physical copies, actually, of Gex, the second Gex, Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. So yeah, the Gex games are ones I'm definitely looking forward to the most in this collection. Might pick up the Gex trilogy that they're releasing when they do release it, but no date, I don't think, when I looked, was given on that. But yeah, some games do have release dates, but not all of them. Although I suspect some could release this year, like the Jurassic Park collection is actually Jurassic Park Classic Collection is actually releasing September 1st. But yeah, I suspect some will probably release earlier next year as well. They should be available on current gen consoles, PC and PS4s, but no sign, weirdly, of Xbox One consoles though. Also found out a YouTuber that I watch, Modern Vintage Gamer. He also does work for Limited Run Games, and is the lead engineer actually on the Jurassic Park collection, so classic collection. So that was interesting to find out. And yeah, so be definitely keeping an eye on that. And I'll move into the next bit, which is the Microsoft, I believe it's the Microsoft FTC lawsuit. So I haven't covered any of the Microsoft, Microsoft Activision Blizzard buyout like sort of news in my videos, but I thought I may as well do a bit on it, as it was a bit of recent big news on it, like a few days ago, I believe. So some backstory: basically, Microsoft wants to buy Activision Blizzard King, but has been having legal trouble trying to do so. Looks like the buyout deal was being held back by lawmakers in the United States and the United Kingdom. But yeah, recently on July the 11th, a US court ruled that the FTC has not provided substantial evidence to prevent Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard King from going ahead. So US regulators have basically given Microsoft the green light to go ahead and fulfill the purchase, although in the UK regulators are still, I believe, blocking the purchase. There has also been an appeal submitted already by the FTC, which may further draw out this fairly lengthy legal battle. As more info comes out, I may update it in the future. It looks like it will still be a while before Microsoft are able to go ahead and purchase make the purchase of Activision Blizzard King. It also may still fall through, I guess. But I don't really follow much legal stuff, but from what people are saying, this is a win for Microsoft. And yeah, if there's any big stuff on it again in the future, I'll probably will cover that. We'll just have to see what happens with it down the line. And that's the main gaming news bit covered. I will get into some new and upcoming games now. So we've got a few games releasing today, actually, when this video goes up. So July 14th. So I'll cover them first, then move into some more upcoming stuff. So the first game, covered it before, but is Exo Primal. So this is an online action game with dinosaur hordes. So in the last news episode, gaming news, I thought I'd cover it again quick though. But it is releasing today, July 14th for consoles and PC, and I plan on giving it a go on Game Pass. Maybe try it fairly soon to see what it's like. It looks pretty cool. Hopefully it turns out to be good. I did check the reviews quick before. I think it's the only game here that is releasing today that actually is out by the time I'm recording this. But so far the reviews on Steam are mixed. I think they're in the mid or high 50% of user rating, which is a bit concerning. Although I guess it is. It has just released, but just have to see how it goes. I may do an impressions video on it, and I don't know, possibly a review if I really like the game. But I think an impressions video would be a good start and to those type of videos. Yeah, if I end up just liking it, I'll give it a go and see what I think. And the next game, which is releasing July 14th as well. So this is Catch and Cook Fishing Adventure. So this looks like a really cool game. Has a really nice art style. Kind of reminds me like a little bit of the Katamari games, style-wise. This is it's a fishing adventure game, as you may realize, where you play as a fisherman who also runs a restaurant. Seems like exploration will be quite a big part of the game as well. So that's something I generally quite like in games, is the exploration. So basically gameplay-wise, you go fishing off of your boat, and you cook your catches and sell the cooked fish through your restaurant. It looks like it will be a very relaxing game with quite chilled out gameplay. The developers are saying there'll be a huge variety of fish, and the flora and fauna look really nice, as you might expect given the art style. And the game is releasing today on Steam, July 14th, and I'll likely pick this up in the future, I think. There's also a demo for this game in case you wanted to try it out first. So the next game also releasing today, the final one releasing today that I'm covering. So this is Jagged Alliance 3, which is a tactical turn-based combat game. So it's coming to Steam. I haven't played the old games, Jagged Alliance 1 and 2. They're quite old. I think they come out in the late 90s and early 2000s. But I have heard they are very in-depth tactical games with some complicated mechanics. The last game was released when I had a quick look in April of 1999. So late 90s, both the previous ones are released. This new one looks quite nice graphically. The main gameplay involves recruiting mercenaries and controlling them to complete missions, using strategy to overcome the enemies, as you'd imagine. But apparently there are also RPG elements, which sounds good, in the game. So I guess mercenary character progression will be one of the main things. But it'd be a few other things. And it's releasing today, July 14th. I think there's like a small deal on it, but that may have ran out already. But I think it's still around about £30, about $30-ish. But go check that out if you're interested. Now move on to the sort of upcoming games of the next week. So the first game is another game with a really nice and colourful art style. This game is Sticky Business. It's releasing the 17th of July on Steam. I really like the simple pixel 2D art aesthetic of this game. And in Sticky Business, you run your own small business and create stickers and pack orders, and apparently listen to customer stories. This is going by the description on Steam. I haven't played many small business games or small business simulation games, but I guess I have played game dev tycoon and PC building simulator, which I guess is somewhat similar, but obviously different takes on the genre. But yeah, both of those games are pretty good games. Yeah, Sticky Business looks to be a very creative game. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, this may be the game for you. I think I will try this at some point, as I really like the game's look and art direction. And it's another game where there's a demo as well, so you could try that before if you wanted to. But yeah, that's out on Sticky Business is out on the 17th of July on Steam. The next game is Evergreen Mountain Life Simulator. So this is a mountain simulation game where you can create your own cabin or home, I guess, and live in a mountain or a mountain valley. The developer states, forget about stressful hunger, health, or temperature meters. So I'm guessing it's not like a survival game. You have to worry about that sort of thing. But yeah, it's just one where you simply experience mountain life, I guess. There will be building involved, and it does look quite in depth with fully customizable home and cabin construction. Looks pretty good. Collecting resources looks to be a big part of gameplay as well. And you can apparently sell the resources. This sounds quite cool. Sell the resources to a local village and buy supplies and furniture, things like that. Yeah, it looks really cool. And graphically pretty nice too, with a dynamic environment. And the game is also an Unreal Engine 5 game, so you expect that to be it to be a good looking game because of that. Generally, I'm pretty interested in this. Yeah, I'll have to try it sometime in the future. It's releasing on Steam on the 17th of July. There is also a prologue for the game. I'm guessing it's sort of a demo, but so you can. I think it's free to download, so you can maybe give that a go if you're interested. The next game is Cross Tales. This is a tactical strategy JRPG set in a war-ravaged fantasy world. As I mentioned, I haven't really played many JRPGs, but want to try them at some point, try to get into them a bit more at some point maybe. But yeah, this one looks really nice. It's heavily stylized like art design. There are 24 classes, plus fixed like classes for the main characters, and each has their own skill tree. So it'll likely be a game with a fair bit of content and replayability, especially if you're into tactical like strategy RPGs. Going by the description, it'll be fairly story heavy too. Portraying a quote fantasy story of a war between the canine and feline tribes, playable from both points of view. And yeah, the game is releasing for PC as well as current and last gen consoles on July 19th. And it's another game with a demo, so you can give that a go. The next game is Punch Club 2 Fast Forward. So this game is the second game in the Punch Club series. I haven't played the first game, but have watched a fair bit of gameplay of it a while ago. It looks quite cool. Fairly well reviewed game on Steam as well, and was quite popular. Punch Club 2, it looks somewhat similar to the first game, but with an updated visual design and more gameplay and features. And like the first game, it will be fairly management heavy, micromanagement and things, where you basically build up your fighter and then improve their stats while trying to raise up the ranks and eventually become champion. Like the first game, there's some focus on story elements as well. The game releases on July 20th for PC and current and last gen consoles, and yet another game with a demo in case you want to give that a try. More of an expansion next, but I thought I'd add it as it's for a pretty popular game. This is Sea of Thieves, the Legend of Monkey Island expansion, which is a 3-part, I think, episodic expansion to Sea of Thieves. So 2 pirate-themed games collaborating. Seems like a pretty good idea to me. Haven't played either of them, but I know the Monkey Island games are pretty beloved point-and-click adventure games. The only point-and-click I've played through was the remaster of Day of the Tentacle, which I did like, so may try more in the future, may try the Monkey Island games. So this expansion is going to allow you to meet characters from Monkey Island, the Monkey Island series, and also explore the locations from that series. So yeah, that could be quite cool to experience, especially if you like those older games. And I believe the first part is releasing on the 20th of July. So the final upcoming game I'll be covering this week is Pikmin 4. which is an RTS sort of game for the Nintendo Switch. I haven't played any of the Pikmin games, although I have heard pretty positive things about them, and they have a nice art style. I believe the Pikmin series is entirely on Nintendo consoles, so the GameCube. I think the first one may have been on the GameCube. And yeah, so it's one of Nintendo's like sort of bigger IPs, I guess. And yeah, I would imagine it would be pretty popular on release. Like the older games, the player is in control of a Pikmin leader and its minions. The gameplay involves raising these Pikmin up and using them to defeat enemies and complete missions and things. It does seem pretty in depth with the different species of Pikmin, which will have different abilities and strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, I would like to try one of the Pikmin games one day, as I do like RTS games. This is like an interesting take on those. And I've heard quite a lot of positive things about the Pikmin games, so yeah, may try one of the older ones first. It releases for Nintendo Switch on July the 21st, and that's all the new and upcoming games. I'll move into some deals quick, and I'll first start with I know just a bit on the Steam Summer Sale. So that has now ended. The Steam Summer Sale ended. It would have been yesterday, although there are still some deals that are going on after it ends. I will mention some that are of interest to me or have discounts that I think are good. I think I'll generally do my 5 picks from like Steam or other storefronts each week, but may do more if there are a lot of deals or if I feel the need to. The first game I'll cover on the deals is Medieval Dynasty. So this is a survival game, and as the name points to, it's set in the Middle Ages. The game looks really good, and I do want to try it. And I expect when I do it, it may consume a fair bit of my time, maybe, as I really like the medieval game settings. Game looks really quite good. As I mentioned in other games, I do like that sort of setting, and like Kingdom Come Deliverance things. I expect to be quite different to that, but similar setting. So the game, has the usual gameplay you'd expect from a survival game: hunting, building, gathering, and resources, etc. But Medieval Dynasty has a very good reviews on Steam, actually 89-90% positive. So seems like it is a generally good, really good survival game. And it is 35% off until the 26th of July, giving it a price of, I think, £17.54, or around $22.74. So take a look at that if you're interested. The next game is Barrow Trauma. So this is a 2D co-op submarine simulator. It's also apparently set in space. I didn't realize that. With survival horror and RPG elements. It looks pretty cool. I like the style and the atmosphere. I'm usually not too interested in this type of game, but it has caught my eye. May try it someday. Maybe it will change my mind and I'll really enjoy it. So in Barrow Trauma, you control a submarine and complete missions while fighting monsters, among other things. Looks quite cool, actually. The game, has pretty good reviews. It's really good reviews, actually. 93% positive on Steam. So if you like your unique horror games, this might be a game to take a look at. And it is on sale until the 27th of July and is on deal for 50% off, actually, with a price of $14.99 or about $17.50. Next game is A Way Out. So this is an exclusively co-op adventure game where you and a friend work together to escape the prison you're confined to. Looks like it is a good co-op game with gripping gameplay and story. What's more is it's from the same developers actually as Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, another pretty well-received game. A Way Out has very positive reviews on Steam, with a recent reviews of 87% being positive. A friend of mine said it was good as well, so I'd like to try it at some point. It's a pretty good deal as well, at 80% off actually, and selling for £4.99 or about $6. So it looks to be a good game, good deal, and it's on sale until July 27th. The next game is a JRPG, Octopath Traveler, that has a very nice art style and aesthetic. It does look really great graphically. There are 8 different characters to play, and each have their own stories and side quests. It has turn-based combat that looks rather enjoyable, actually. I plan on picking this up in the future. I really like the look of it and the art. It's very positive review, user reviews on Steam, with 80% of recent user reviews being positive. So yeah, Octopath Traveler is on sale until the 19th of July and is 50% off with a price of $24.99, or about $30. There's also an Octopath Traveler 2, which came out earlier this year. That is on sale too, but it's just 25% off, given how new it is. That's sort of expected. The penultimate deal here is Prison Architect. So it's a game I have on Steam but haven't played yet. So Prison Architect is a prison simulation strategy game where you design and are in control of a prison that you have to improve and expand. It's published by Paradox actually, and I like a lot of Paradox published games. The game does have an interesting sort of art style. It sort of fits the game quite well. A couple of friends of mine have played it and said it's pretty good. It has a good user review rating on Steam with a score overall, I think, of 90. But recent reviews, there may be some issues with the game coming up recently because recent reviews are still mostly positive, but are only 78% positive. It is 80% off, actually, so another fairly big deal. And that's until the 20th of July for a price of £4.75, about $6. And finally, the final deal, both the Plague Tale games are on sale and sale in a bundle. These are both action adventure games set in France at the end of the High Middle Ages in the year 1348. So you control a girl called Amicia de Rune, who must save her brother from an unknown disease. Gameplay wise, yeah, it's an action adventure, but also stealth game. Graphically, both games look really impressive as well, and the dark medieval setting sort of fits well. Looks really great. Would like to play through both of them in the future. As yeah, I think I'd really enjoy them. Interestingly, both games are actually developed as well by Asobo Studio, who also develop, funny enough, as yeah, Flight Simulator 2020 among other games. So that's interesting bit of info. And both games are for sale in a bundle together, which is 55% off until the 24th of July. Individually, they are not on sale, so this might be a good time to get both if you haven't got either of them. So the bundle costs for both of them included, this is £26.99, or about $31.50. And that's all of the deals, and that's all the game coverage as well from me today. I will be publishing a tech news video tomorrow, so check back for that if you're interested. And yeah, should be back with another one of these next Friday. And as always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like or dislike and leave a comment. If you enjoyed my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. And thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully should be back again soon.